Hello, my name is Maureen Robertson, and I'm the editor of VO Voices, a newsletter which we publish 4 times per season. A number of years ago, Ed Easton and Florence Brownridge conceived the idea of bringing stories about Venture Out and its residents to our community, and they created VO Voices. Now, we are pleased to return to past issues and bring some of those stories to you on Channel 17 through our program, VO Voices Revisited on TV. Each program will feature 3 stories and will run for 1 week. The following week, we will present a new set of stories. We hope you enjoy this new programming feature of Channel 17. And now, on with the stories. This year, VO Voices has chosen the theme of the changing face of Venture Out. And some time ago, in fact in January 1995, Kerr and Sayre actually wrote an article called The Changing Face of Venture Out. And so we'll hear about that one today. It's from trailers to patio enclosures. The old order changes. Yielding place to new certainly applies to Venture Out these days. When Gulf Oil and Associates developed this park 25 years ago, it was a new concept designed to cater to RVs. Campers, trailers, and motorhomes filled the spaces. As people began to appreciate the facilities and the lifestyle offered, many traded their RVs for tip-out park models, making Venture Out their permanent winter homes. Now, less than 5% of our 1,749 lots hold RVs, and today, of course, it's much less than that. Full slide-outs followed tip-outs. Then, spacious new park models rapidly replaced the older units. 65 park models entered the park between February 1992 and February 1993, a trend which shows no sign of abating. As soon as regulations allowed patio enclosures, building began. During the 1992-1993 season, owners enclosed 192 patios. Approximately 35% of our patios are now enclosed, and of course today it's much more as well. Residents spent an estimated $5 million on improvements in the year between February 1992 and 1993. Many residents are confused and sometimes frustrated by the changes in regulations governing building codes. Our manager, Tom White, explains, "We have a very good relationship with the City of Mesa, and we work at complying with their regulations." Park models are limited to 400 square feet maximum, sheds to a maximum of 100 square feet, not to exceed 10 feet in height, and stub walls have a 32-inch height limit. The use of glass in patio enclosures has recently been approved by the City of Mesa and our board. As we continue to develop our lots, acquire washers and dryers, heat our patio enclosures and add dishwashers, a greater drain on the electrical service and water consumption occurs. What was ample when we were established is not always so now. Many residents see this as progress and embrace the new. Others regret the passing of the old and resist changes. Still, Venture Out is where we want to be. And of course, in the past 20 years, we've seen many changes to Venture Out. And we wonder just what will happen in the future. Will we see double wides coming down the roads? Who knows? Will we have 2 stories with that convenient guest suite upstairs? Then moving on now to the next article, we will have Linda Kerr tell us about a very interesting woman who used to live here in Venture Out.
Hello, Venture Out. I'm Linda Kerr, and I've been given the task of talking today about a very special lady that was in Venture Out for 25 years, and during that time she was part of the music community. When I came here in 2000 and joined the church choir, Betty Allen was the sweet little lady playing and accompanying the choir. She and Dale Clark were quite a team, and we didn't know all about her, and gradually the news came out how famous she really was. So now, from the Venture Out Voices, we find an article, and this was written when Betty still lived at 220 Debonair. And so this is an interesting lady. Remembering Betty Allen. With a song in my heart. As a student at UCLA, Betty Allen learned that she really loved to sing, and she could sing well with others. Radio was popular in New York, and the trend for singing groups followed to Hollywood. With two sorority sisters, Betty got numerous requests for local radio appearances. That was just the beginning. Betty married John, her high school sweetheart, from Hollywood High, who also went to UCLA. As a saxophonist, he eventually used his musical talents as a recording specialist with the movie industry in the sound department. After college, Betty was part of a trio, the Rhythmettes. Despite long hours of work, John would say to Betty, "You are not really going to work because you're having too much fun." The Rhythmettes were popular, and they were called for many radio shows as background singers. For example, they worked with Bing Crosby, Dinah Shore, Milton Berle, Bob Hope, and Martin and Lewis. There were many commercials, and those for Pepsodent and Tony the Tiger, saying, "That's great," they still ring in our ears. TV became big with the Rhythmettes, and they were in demand as background singers. There was no pre-taping, it was all live. So the shows from Hollywood would broadcast to New York, and 3 hours later, the show would be repeated for the West Coast. Eventually the music changed, and it was important to have a quartet. Thus, Norma Zimmer became a member. When Lawrence Welk needed girl singers to make a group with his band members, the quartet was called. Norma attracted attention and was asked to sing a solo line here or there. She eventually became the Champagne Lady. As a group, the quartet recorded White Christmas with Bing Crosby. Norma and Betty recorded That's Amore with Dean Martin. Betty Allen's friends from her fun job remain friends to this very day. About another 3-year TV stint as a background singer, Betty recalls that Dean Martin was one of the nicest, friendliest, most gracious people that she ever worked with. When the Frank Sinatra show moved from New York to Hollywood, the group was chosen for background singing. Numerous recordings with Frank followed. The background singing included the movie studios. An early job was for Walt Disney, Three Little Pigs. Then other cartoon movies followed that. But wait a minute. We know Betty Allen as a 24-year piano accompanist for the VO choir. That is a whole other story. Betty started piano lessons at age 6 with her aunt who lived right next door. Her aunt learned in just 6 weeks that Betty had a natural ear, a tremendous musical gift. Betty played classical music, picked up popular music when in junior high school. Then, as any typical teenager, she quit playing the piano. When Betty and John retired after raising their children, they moved from Los Angeles to La Jolla and started RVing, fun in Guadalajara and Arizona. They discovered Venture Out. The attraction of this place of recreation and activities helped make the decision for permanency in Mesa. Their musical talent was contagious and helped make VO the place it is today. Residents for years had appreciated the Allen's hours and the weekends devoted to making VO sing. In particular, the song of Betty Allen has helped to make residents in VO sing from the heart. And I can attest to that. She could play any song you mentioned. She could play by ear. And she eventually retired from the choir in about 2008 because her eyesight was poor and she had to see music. So she continued working, I think, with the kitchen band for a few years where she could just play the songs by ear. And sadly, Betty Allen has passed away. She was 102 years old when she died.
Hi, I'm Jim Peterson with a reading today about decision-making at Venture Out and a discussion about governance in an editorial by Ed Easton from a November 18, 1994 article in the Venture Out Voices. Decision-making at Venture Out. In general, the future of our resort is in our hands as lot owners. Our system provides for the elected board to act on our behalf in most matters. Changes in bylaws and large expenditures must be approved by majority vote, as shown in our recent election. Venture Out has never faced a financial crisis. We have enjoyed a process of decision-making which has avoided this quite common problem. However, we still have a large number of residents who feel left out of park governance and an even larger number who prefer not to be directly involved. Whether this process, which has served to develop Venture Out, will serve to maintain it is worthy of examination. We are facing difficult problems with streets, electrical service, buildings, equipment, and plantings. Long-range planning has not worked well at Venture Out because of limited continuity from board to board. The recently established reserve fund will help distribute costs, but decisions still must be made by each board. The system of using several standing committees to advise the board has been replaced by ad hoc committees appointed for specific purposes. The standing committee process had the advantage of including many lot owners in decisions, but also led to confusion and lack of priority at voting time. Ad hoc committees are more clearly focused but have a more limited role in governance. One of the great mysteries of Venture Out concerns what lot owners really want. The recent election suggests that lot owners are quite willing to support their board. Perhaps having 9 residents on the board provides a sufficient level of contact to assure agreement. However, our recent history and continuing dialogue indicates a degree of frustration with our process. It does not indicate how many lot owners are upset, nor does it indicate what corrective measures must be taken. It might be an interesting and worthwhile study to try to find out what lot owners want in our governance. We may find considerable agreement, and we may find some interesting differences. We might even find a way of becoming better acquainted. In a guest editorial which follows this introduction, which I'm not reading the guest editorial itself, just this introduction, former board president Bud Garrison included a number of pertinent questions. What do lot owners want? Why are some frustrated with VO governance? Will our governance system maintain VO in the future? Is our long-range planning adequate? Part of the frustration may be the result of too little communication between the condo board and residents. The new Arizona Sunshine Law, opening board meetings to owners, and the recently inaugurated town hall meetings should improve communications, as will the board's summary of workshop topics being published in Venture Outlines. Getting residents involved in the early stages of major discussions would also help, although some board members and residents believe this would only open the door to those who criticize rather than contribute. To maintain VO, Board members need to access more background research and more time for their work on top priority issues. Expanded use of ad hoc committees could further tap the wealth of creative talent in our park and provide pertinent information and analysis for board consideration. An ongoing long-range planning committee could save the board hours by helping to determine top priorities for the future. An ombudsman or arbitration panel could deal with personal complaints, thus freeing the board to spend more time on major issues. To govern well, board members need to know their constituents' needs and expectations and what they believe should be continued, eliminated, or changed at Venture Out, and how they think our governance process might be improved. Perhaps we need a study to discover not only what the owners want and why some feel frustrated, but also what they like about VO. Thus, valuable feedback could come from all willing to participate, including both the frustrated and the satisfied. And again, this is from an editorial by Ed Easton back on November 18th, 1994. Thank you.
Thank you for watching our show today. We hope you've learned something about our pieces of history of Venture Out and about some of the people who have lived here in the past. We look forward to bringing you more articles next week, so please stay tuned to Channel 17.